Ladies and gents, it is trading day for Fantasy and Supercoach, all in one vid here, and I don't know personally. We're going to go through, I think it's 3 or 4 options I currently have, and this is a typical week in NRL Fantasy and Supercoach. It's made tough at some points, that's for sure, with trying to make some decisions, especially when you're not sold. You do need to make trades given you have injuries, and I personally have 4 outs this week with Duffy, Hubner, and then Lucas and Hosking. And I have made the decision at least that I'm going to sell the 2 big dogs. Lucas could be out for anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks. We don't know yet. 2 to 4 seems, minor. And is a chance to go for moderate or anything like that as well. So there's a few things that could happen with him. Hosking, we know he's about that 4 to 6 range, so he's definitely out. I could go Hosking and Duffy. It's a potential thought. But at this stage, I'm going to remove the 2 big dogs. I don't want to fall too far behind. And we know these types of injuries, especially hamstring, they have a big re-injury rate as well. I'm definitely holding in Supercoach, and the reason for that is the 26 players. In Fantasy, it's 21, and it's very, very hard to hold guns in your side. And if you didn't check out the Dylan Lucas is out video, I went through that in a little bit of detail there. So go and check that out. You get all the crew in there as well. And please be sure to subscribe, guys, if you do enjoy following along, and also follow along on podcasts as well. Let's just go quickly into my Supercoach team in a sec and get that out of the way. And it does influence me a little bit with how I make my fantasy trades, especially after last week. I just bulk sold Metcalf across both platforms, and that hurt. And I'm definitely getting Payne Haas, and I'm getting Starling in Supercoach. And right now I'll show you that my fantasy team currently has Payne Haas and Howarth coming in. We're going to talk through that option, and then we'll make some decisions around the other potential trades that we've got. So the 3 trades I'm making in Supercoach, it's a tough week. I've got Lucas out. I've got Matt Burton out. We might have Turbo out. Duffy didn't make the squad. Guymer's out. Hubner's out. And I've got a Looper in Simpkins, which doesn't matter too much. But this week I've decided to hold on to Burton. And if things go okay for Munster this week, I'll probably add him into my 5/8 slot next week. There was a thought to potentially grab Adam Dewey for Burton this week, just as a bit of a cash grab, and they're playing the Dolphins this week, and I think he can continue to score well with the goal kicking. I don't think there was a thought to get rid of Turbo, given he plays the Eels the following week, and we know he's a really important player and absolutely should dominate at home in that one there. So we'll wait until that final game, second to last game, 24-hour update, whatever it's going to be with Turbo and their captain's run. Him and DC will be going through that one, and we'll make our decision on that, whether we play Yongi or not, or if it sounds like he's probably not going to play, I'll move Yongi into the flex and have Turbo in there and make that decision between like a Tamale and Yongi in that final game. So that's kind of where I'm thinking with that. At this stage, those 3 trades, though, that I'm talking about, Hopgood does leave the side. And in Fantasy, I'd be definitely holding him and potentially buying him. But in Supercoach, with the price drop about to happen, he needs the attacking stats where he doesn't exactly need it in Fantasy. And the 43 last week really hurts. He's going to lose some cash over the next few weeks. And moving him to Payne Haas seems a very simple decision for me. Wish I started with him at the price, but haven't and didn't. But Tom Starling and Arthur's there with the big scores, the big low break evens, and that's how I'm going to make this move. 150 odd K, I think I've got. Yeah, $152,000 following these moves. Unfortunately, I couldn't go straight from Purdue to Arthur's. I was about 40K short or 30K short, so I am moving on from Safe Arth this week. Doesn't look like the attacking stats should come for him on a regular basis, at least. He'll obviously come out and score a try now that I am going to move him on, but he's not someone that's going to make bulk cash and have multiple weeks of attacking stats. He had it randomly last year, but they're playing a different style of footy as well, and he's very much used a little bit in their half of footy, and then he's not used close to the line and stuff like that as much. So he should just be okay. But Duffy, Safe Arth, and Hopgood come out for Starling, Haas, and Arthur's. Pretty happy with those. We'll make probably 3 moves next week as well to get rid of Burton. For one, I'll hold Lucas. He hasn't gone up in price yet, and that's the difference as well. He's already had a couple of rises in Fantasy. And we're just going to work out who we're going to play. at the end there. At the moment, I've just moved and playing White. We've got Mamzelis after a 94. I don't think will happen. If White can get good base into the 50s, that would be cool. I've selected Sanders Smith now with Lucas being out. And Yongi's the other option as well. So there's plenty that's changed in the Supercoach landscape. I'm going to take some cash this week. Hopefully play Shiba and Arthurs if Shiba keeps the spot. If he doesn't, then if we get an update in that 24 hours or something like that, then I'll make a decision with some of these reserves and things like that. So that's the Supercoach section. Let's get back into the fantasy side of things. Payne Haas and Howarth is one option that I'm tinkering with for those two guys in Lucas and Hosking. The good parts of it, I get Payne Haas, who's averaging 83. The average parts of it, I'm 9k short of getting Nicholson with the second trade, which is frustrating me. And I am someone that has wanted Howarth from the start of the season, but he's up against Panthers this week, and that doesn't excite me too much. And then going forward, he's 478k. It's not like he's a cheap guy, and I'm aware that last year I had some issues with buying outside backs in that mid-range early on, mid to higher range, like with Taylor May and guys like that. Gutho, he'd be nice in Supercoach, but anyway. So that's one option. Howarth I'd be playing him for sure. I can double loop in that scenario with 5 and 6, definitely. It's going to be hard to double loop. I haven't looked into it too far because I'm still trying to work out my trades, but with Hubner being a mid, we can muck around with that as well and have a mid there and make our decisions in those guys. But with Haas, May and Horsburgh, it's absolutely terrific. And it's not something you want to be mucking around with too much. But with that set up, I'm likely to be playing Howarth instead of Yongi, like taking his score. And if Cole continues to play as he has been, he would be the one to miss out. So I think in this scenario, Howarth is an easy one to loop, given he is playing the first game and he has that nice coverage as well. So if anything happens, we can got the edge and the center. And that's why he'd be coming into my side also, is because I'm losing two edges. I've got Gilbert and Seyfarth right now as my edges. Howarth would be that nice replacement at a cheaper price to what Lucas was, and not as good of a player, sadly. Hopefully he becomes a Jet if I do decide to pick him, but this is one of my options to get the current best player in the game, and I'm sacrificing a little bit to get Howarth. If I didn't do this one, the other option would be Mark Nawangani Tawaze. So let's just pretend that we made that one now. He again is someone that could be easily looped. I think we'd loop Cole in that 6 spot, and that would be an easy one to start with, given I wouldn't look to loop anyone else in that first game. Isaiah Cleary, they're going to dominate. Captaincy, I've left that up to the people in the know, in the private crew, is if I'm changing from Cleary or not. And if I get Haas, do I captain him? Do I captain Terrell May? Do we captain Cleary? I'll leave that up to later on, because I think I've made my decision, but we'll wait for that one. Just as a little bonus to me in the private group. That's how it works, right? But yeah, if I went for Nawangani Tawaze, that leaves me 115 in the bank for next week. And there's options next week. Couchman, these types of players. He would be another edge that could come in and do a good job as well. So that's one option for sure. If we were to do some roll backing of the team, that's going to put Lucas in my starting side, isn't he? Boring. All right, let's go. Who else are we going to put in there? Stafford Toa for the center spot. Okay, now we can muck around. We'd have secondary option, Jaden Campbell. There you go. Jaden Campbell would come into the side as an option, with my secondary pick being Matty Nicholson. So let's have a look and see how that one turns out. And hopefully, by me talking through this, that it's going to help me out. Oh, of course, it's not going to work. Stop being painful, you guys. All right. Why does this have to be painful? All right. Stafford Toa, you're in. Hosking, you're going to go to Nicholson, please. Do it one at a time. Wish it was done a little bit easier than that, but let's lock that one in and see Nicholson in there. So that gives me another edge, which is good. You see Gilbert in the midsection, and then I would be purchasing Jaden Campbell for Lucas. Let's just check out how that one looks. Sorry, it's taking a little bit longer, but sometimes it can be a little bit finicky on the computer sometimes, and sometimes it can be better on the computer. I think it's better to look at potential trades on the computer, just because you can scroll down here looking at your team at the same time, but actually doing your trades, phone's the way to go. All right, Campbell would come into this side, which is fun. Nicholson replaces an edge. I definitely have edge cover, so it'll be similar to the last option with Howarth, but I'm getting, in my opinion, a better scorer this week for that little bit extra cash. I'm now no longer getting Payne Haas, but I'm leaving 161 in the bank, and I'm helping myself out for wing fullback next week. Next week with the other option with Howarth, I would have Toa and Toya in that spot already, and it would mean I definitely play Brimson, Tamale, and Yongi. In this scenario here, if things work out as they are, I would not have to play Yongi next week, or I could loop and make some decisions around that, which would be fun. So let's just have a little bit of a play around. It also helps me with a gun half, who I think, in this scenario, Campbell should score about a 60 a game, is where I'm putting him at, with that 7 extra points in goal kicking. That's really helpful. Tamale can be my center cover in this scenario. So Campbell goes straight in. It does mean I have Brimson and Campbell, and I'm banking on the Titans improving and getting back to some really, really good scores. But in this one, we would see some subbing. Duffy would come out, Yongi would not be played, and Smith would come into that. We would still loop Cole. We'll have him in the number 6 slot, and then we would decide from there. So it's not crazy difference. You're losing out on Payne Haas and his incredible scoring, but you're improving. I'm keeping money in the bank, basically. It's very close to, it's another, it's 170,000 to get to Payne Haas, which is sad. As I said, it's 9k difference to get Nicholson in, and I can't with the option that I was thinking of. But you get a guy that can help you out in a tough position. So it'd be Brimson, Campbell, and Ponga down at wing fullback, but Campbell can also be a gun half, which is always great to own, basically, and gets progressively better and better to own as the season progresses. So Yongi in this case wouldn't have to be played next week, which is a positive compared to the other option. And I would have to decide, or at least have, the 17 on the park for next week, decide between my centers or, edge. I still have the cover in the edge position in this one by bringing in Nicholson. So I thought that's where this one could be cool. Now, let's change. Let me know your thoughts. Option 1, comment that down below. Option 2, comment that down below. I think both work. The 160k in the bank to move on from a Duffy next week gets you up to a 450, which is good. And seeing how guys like Seyfarth, guys like Gilbert go over the next couple of weeks. We have Brimson to have a look at him, see how things play out. Ayongi, as I said, might not have to play him next week in this scenario, because I could put Tamale down into wing fullback. So if he's poor, I could use him as a trade out target and get anywhere near the 500k mark. So that's that. The other option I really wanted, guys, is Tom Starling. Don't know if he's going to be able to fit into this side right now. So that's option 1. Option 2, let's go in and can we do some reverse trades? That could be cool. All right. Yeah. Just roll back your team. All right, Jamie. We'll do some mucking around. So you get to see it all in action. This is what I'm doing all day, apart from making videos and going to work, is mucking around with my team. So actually, we can do a fun one here. Will allow us. Now I'll do the other one first. Okay, Dylan Lucas. He could go to Gregory Marzu. Straight swap, night for night. It's going to hurt me a little bit next week, but he is absolutely dominant right now. That's for sure. And Hosking, he can go to Hopgood for 720k. Hopgood. There you go. Hoppy. So Marju and Hopgood, what do you reckon about that one for the same combination? Because I got Stafford Toa. It's not. I could easily sell Duffy if I didn't have Stafford, and go Stafford and up to, what could I have, 670, something like that. But I'd probably still go one of the, Nicholson or something like that as a replacement. But in this case, you've got Hopgood with the dual, which helps me out with the edge, and then bringing in Greg Marzu, who would be awesome for this week, and would mean I do need to play Isaiah Yongi next week. And cop it this week. Hope that Greg Marzu is a 50 plus scorer now, with the offloading, and I at least am in on one of the offloading kings in Payne Haas or in Greg Marzu. The other option with the Payne Haas one, guys, was Haas and Satili Tupanua, Wild, Haas and Mark Nonge-Tuaze, as I said. But yeah, Satili was the other option. Some people are looking at like Xavier Savage, Jesse Harthers. They're not going to be coming into my side. I do want to at least win something out of this, and having these injuries would be very helpful. That's for sure. But yeah, they're the three options. Fourth option, I'm not sure if there was one apart from going to a cheaper player. So I could go to like Riley Smith from Duffy, leaves me 95k it was, which means I could go and keep Lucas, and I could go Hosking with 95k up towards like Jaden Campbell. So it could be Campbell and Riley Smith was another option that could work. So maybe that's option 4. Let me know with that. So option 1 includes one of Howarth, Satili for the short-term play, or Marky Mark. I'm personally not looking at like a Francis or something like that. I've got enough cheapies doing a good job. I don't want to add another one that is a maybe at this point. You know, I managed to avoid Jackson Purdue, and I'm happy with that. So I don't want to get another cheapie when I don't need it, and I've got 4 out. Going into next week as well, we will have Duffy, Hubner out. In this team, in this setup, we would have Marzu and Ponga out. So that probably doesn't feel super exciting because I have one injury and I'm forced to make a trade, maybe when I don't want to, but it does leave 108 in the bank. I think personally it's either the Haas and Howarth trade, because I've talked Howarth up all preseason. He had a good one against the Eels, and we probably just have to get through this Storm versus Panthers fixture, and then I think he'll score pretty well throughout the season and be like a mid-40s guy. That one sounds pretty cool. I do like the Mark Nwanganituaze option in that scenario as well. Not sure if this one, it sounds really cool, but with Knights out next week, that hurts. The Hopgood and I just forgot who it was. Hopgood and Marge. Oh, sorry, not Hopgood. Jaden Campbell and Nicholson play is the other one that's probably about 50-50 for me as well. I don't know if I'm leaning that way. I think it might be like 52-48 between the two. I think the Campbell one and Nicholson, if we can get a 60 out of Payne Haas, I think it makes the most sense in terms of potential for money making for a gun in a wing fullback or half slot, and giving me a really good edge that's going to make some money as well. Whereas I think I'm sacrificing because I'm 9k short of Nicholson. If I could do Haas and Nicholson, which a lot of people can do, I would do it. And if you can, awesome. I think I'm sacrificing and risking a little bit in that second trade just to get Haas, where he could come out and hit a 64, 65. And if he does really well and goes 80 again, I'm offset a little bit with the Supercoach trade in for him and Dream Team as well. And shout out to Dream Team. I came 27th last year and I'm sitting 22nd after round 2. And it does hurt having Lucas in all my teams as well. So shout out to them in that one. But I'm a Jet, a Dream Team. If you want to go up against me, good luck, because I'm flying the last 2 years. I've only played 2 years. So there you go. But yeah, it's probably all I had to say. I'm still trying to work out which one's best. I said, if he goes 70 or under, I think it's fine. And if I can get a good captaincy out of Cleary, May, whoever we decide with that one, then awesome. I think we win the week if Campbell can come out and get close to 60, and if Nicholson can go 50, that would be a win. If Haas comes out and gets 80 and we lose out a little bit with Campbell, or Nicholson goes 40 and Campbell goes 50 or something like that, then it could go that way as well. But I think looking at it longer term, which way is going to work best? Which way am I getting the most potential value or a gun in a tougher position, which is Campbell? And can Nicholson be a 700k player? Can Howarth be a 700k player? I don't think so, but I think Nicholson can be. You take out those tries, you put him down to about 4 tackle breaks, which could be pretty normal in that 55 meter effort. He tackled a fair bit. They had the ball a chunk at the start, and he didn't get the footy as much. They went through the middle. He's got the spot sewn up for now anyway, for the next 4 to 6 to 8. Could have it all season. We don't know. there's plenty to think about. I don't think I'm sold after this video, but I could just sit and hope, like Mitch is doing, sit behind the couch watching his own team, and hope that Payne Haas goes for a 2 or 3 offload effort with 5 tackle breaks and hopefully a penalty or something fun finally, and gets like a 65. If he can do that, I think you'd get away with it as an on-owner for this week, but he's up against Cowboys, and I think he'll demolish them. So don't think I'm much closer. Hope that one helped you guys in your decision making, and I hope it didn't make it any harder. 5 hours, 44 minutes until that first game. It's going to be a cracker. Make sure you set your captaincy and vice captaincies early and enjoy the weekend of footy. We've had so much content this week with the extra video with the VIP crew from the JVFA private group. Every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on schedules, we'll have a group discussion like that. And a big shout out to everyone for liking, subscribing, for commenting, all the good stuff, asking questions. If I can't get to them all, I hope you understand why. I do love you all, and I appreciate you guys being here and watching and listening. Have a good weekend. We'll see you in the next one when we analyze those games.